Palomar Lanes in Escondido, California. First time the PBA Senior Tour has been here, and they've had a lot of fun this week. Fans have been tremendous.
Well, they have. It's a first-time event here, and we haven't been back in the San Diego area for a professional tournament for about 30 years. Escondido is about 25 miles north of San Diego, so the fans have really enjoyed it. Get a look at their local favorite here, Lee Taylor.
Cheered him on last night in the final 6 games of match play. Taylor comes out and leaves the solid 4 on his very first shot. You know, this isn't the first time he's been in the championship round. He made it as a top seed back in 1978. However, he bowled the great one, Mr. Mark Roth, and lost in the Light Beer Championship Classic.
Where was that at? Do you remember?
I'm going to say probably somewhere in California. It's probably one of the earlier stops on the winter tour, because I joined the PBA Tour working-wise in the summer of 78 and didn't remember that.
I was bowling in 78, but that's ancient memory, you know, back in the gray matter somewhere.
That's right. 10 years you've been working now as an analyst, Mike. How does that make you feel?
As Lee just holds on to get that 4-pin, it makes me feel good, Dan. I really enjoy doing this, and hope I can do it for another 10.
And as far as I know, you've still never missed a spare from this position.
Well, I haven't gotten tapped either.
First good look at Glenn-Allison, 60 years young and going strong. Really put on a show last night, bowled beautifully down the stretch. Comes out and thought about the 2-4-5 and leaves just the 2-5.
And Glenn, who was near the top all week long, using that little spin shot, kind of going over the top of the ball, getting the ball down the lane and being able to break at the back end with a nice gentle hook.
All he did was come out and average 226 for the first 6 games and lead this field after the opening round.
Right. He struggled a little bit in a couple of blocks, but as we said at the top of the show, it's been a tough condition, a professional condition all week long. The guys that hung in there made their spares and adjustments and didn't make that spare.
And he was a little surprised. The ball kind of sailed past the 2-pin. So Allison opens in the first.
And again, you know, the cardinal rule here, the lead pin there is a 2-pin. If you don't hit that lead pin, you can't make the spare. He shot it from the left to eliminate the chop. Classic 4-step approach. Ball in perfect time, head steady, shoulder high backswing, arm out there for balance, the left arm, and look at the follow through. Still got an opening.
Waited for that one to hook. It never did, so he leaves the washout. And some adjustment work needs to be done for Glenn-Allison on the championship round pair, which this week is 27 and 28.
27 and 28. Interesting, too, this pair was the home of our only 300 game this week, Dave Sutar. But Dave is playing further out. He's playing out between the first and second arrow. Allison has been playing in all week long. Looked like he was going to take a piece of tape out and put it in, but he's going to shoot this spare first.
Tries to go a little more direct, and that looked more like a strike shot than a spare conversion. So Glenn-Allison goes open. Let's see if Lee Taylor can take advantage of those miscues.
Well, I'll tell you what, if anything was going to loosen you up when your opponent goes open, that should loosen that swing a little bit.
Taylor with an 11-pin lead. In the early stages, pretty good shot, and the 6-pin kicks out the 10, so Taylor strikes in the second frame.
Lee Taylor holds the ball right at waist high, upright. 4-step, push and step at the same time, a little higher than shoulder high backswing. Nice follow through, even balance at the foul line. That's how it should be done then. A little bend at that elbow. See him hold the ball and swing it like this. He's been working with John Jowdy, and John is trying to loosen up his swing, and that's why he does that at the beginning of the swing.
And a beautiful double for Lee Taylor. And how many times have you seen that happen out here on the national tour when one player makes a mistake? Normally, the other one will step up and take advantage.
They always did it against me.
Allison trying to get something started, and it's back-to-back washouts. Now all Glenn can do is turn around with a wry smile and try and start again. Not an easy task to come out in the championship round and leave back-to-back washouts.
Especially after you missed a spare in the first frame. That hole he's digging is getting deeper and deeper.
And especially after the guy you're bowling against just goes whack, whack.
Right now, Glenn just wishes he could disappear.
Well, this is a product of the great era of team bowling, Glenn-Allison, one of the wonderful players of the 40s and 50s, and for him still to be around in the 90s competing, that's kind of amazing.
Well, he's got that nice, easy style. He's in pretty good shape, takes good care of himself, and he says he feels good. As long as he feels good, he can keep striking like that.
Well, let's see if he gets back up. Yes, he does. Claps the hands together, and Mr. 900 says, well, I've got room for a bunch more in a row. All I've got to do is get a string started.
He said, with that 900, I never shot any spares. There it is. 6 taking out the 10. Glenn's reaction. Thank you, he says.
Big strike in the fourth. He waited until they all went down, though. Didn't want to jump the gun. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Taylor hits the pocket again. 10-pin thought for a moment about standing, but the 8 was almost some company.
Almost had company there with him. On the lane, Denny, right at the second arrow, there's a lot of oil. That's right where Lee's playing. He's going basically pretty straight, right direct at the pocket. We saw Allison's ball when he moved out there shooting the washout, didn't hook at all. So, you know, if you don't really roll it well there, you can leave that pocket split.
A couple of extra swings to get that arm loosened up. Double bouncer, no problem with the 8. And we had a chance to chat with Lee Taylor before the telecast tonight, and we asked him about bowling in front of the hometown fans. Would that be an advantage or a disadvantage here in the championship round?
Well, normally I think it'd be a disadvantage because I tried too hard. But last night I had lots of fans. They cheered me on. I had my best block, so maybe I'll turn it into an advantage tonight.
Big lead right now for Lee Taylor, who would like to put Glenn-Allison away very early on here in match number 1.
Well, he knows that if he keeps the ball right in play and keeps it in the pocket, that Allison has to get a lot of strikes in a row to catch him. But as we said, you know, he just missed that fairway that we were talking about earlier. You got to make good shots to get the ball to the 1-3 and then hope you carry. The 4-7-10 here, basically, I wouldn't think what Lee will do on this is just go for the 2 and maintain good count.
All right, what about your mental attitude when you come into an event where you've gone through the practice session, your first couple of rounds, and the scores are medium to low, and there's inconsistencies from pairs to pair, and you know, some players probably at that point give up because they like high-scoring tournaments, but other players like those types of events.
Personally, Dan, at the tail end of my career, I always liked the tougher scoring houses because then spares came into play. As you said, the lanes were different pair to pair. I always figured that favored the experienced player that knew how to make those kind of adjustments. I liked them because I knew that I could keep up then, and I had a chance to win on that kind of condition.
And 2 of the greatest adjustment players of all time, Earl Anthony and Dave Sutar, finished 1-2 in this one.
And 2 of the greatest shot makers of all time.
Meanwhile, Allison starts to fight back. There's a lot of fight left in this 60-year-old Glenn-Allison.
He doesn't give up, and he loves to run out strikes. When he starts getting something going, I imagine what he was like when he shot that 900 series. Right now, that 42-pin lead now is reduced down to 18 pins.
One more here cuts it to 8. He could get right back into the thick of this match. Got to hook a little bit. Yeah, you and I were both thinking the same thing at the same time. So he misses the head pin on the left-hand lane. Not an easy spare.
Well, he's had practice. He's missed it 3 out of 5 frames already, so he should know where to throw this to make it.
And that's